The CIA is itself called three pillars of network security. So what is snooping? Yes, snooping is nothing but the unauthorized access to the data. So what is traffic analysis here? The third party is going to analyze the traffic, that is network traffic each time. That kind of attack itself called traffic analysis. Hello, hi, namaste. A heartily welcome to my new session, and the unit name is Introduction to Network Security. In my previous session, we had discussion regarding what is network security. So here network security is nothing but the process of taking preservative measurement to protect the underlying internet or network infrastructure from the unauthorized use or misuse or from the modification. So in general, what is computer network security? Here network security is nothing but the process of taking preventive measure to protect the data or protect the computer network resource from the unauthorized use or misuse or from the modification. So here the network security is nothing but the set of rules or procedures or policy that is mainly used to provide data confidentiality, data integrity, and data availability. Then we had discussion regarding the security goals. So what are the different kinds of security goals when we were talking about network security? That is once again the three pillars, that is CIA. So the CIA is itself called three pillars of network security. In that, the C is used to indicate confidentiality and the I is used to indicate integrity and A is used to indicate accessibility. Now, so what is confidentiality? Here confidentiality is nothing but only the authorized or legitimate user can able to access and view the data, and unauthorized user cannot able to access or view the data. Then what is integrity? Integrity is nothing but we are going to ensure that whatever the data we received, that is real and identical and accurate. And what is accessibility? Whatever the network infrastructure we are going to have or whatever the data we are going to available on the network, that can be accessed and available by the authorized user. So these are the three pillars of security or network security, and this is itself called security goals. Moving further, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with security attack. That means what are the different kinds of security attack we are going to face in our real life or in our daily life. So here the security attacks are once again classified into confidentiality attack, integrity attack, and availability attack. Based on these three pillars, we are going to have three different types of security attacks. That is threats to confidentiality. Under threats to confidentiality, I'm going to have snooping attack. Then I'm going to have traffic analysis. Then under threat to integrity, I'm going to have modification attack, masquerading attack, replaying attack, and repudiation attack. So these are the 4 different attacks comes under integrity. That is nothing but the threats to integrity. Moving on to the another type of attack, that is availability. Under availability, we are going to have denial of service, that is itself called DOS, DOS attack. So these are the 3 different kinds of attacks we are going to get under security attack. Moving further, I'm going to have confidentiality attack. So under confidentiality attack, I'm going to have snooping. So what is snooping here? Here snooping refers to the unauthorized access to or interception of data. So what is snooping? Here snooping is nothing but the unauthorized access to the data or interception of data. Consider the example here. A file transferred through the internet may contain confidential information. What is the example I'm going to consider? That I'm going to send some file through the internet, that may be in the form of email. What is the example I'm going to have? A file transferred through the internet may contain confidential information. So here what kind of confidential information? Think that my online banking details. So I'm going to send my online banking details through the email. Now, an unauthorized entity may intercept the transmission and use the content for her own benefit. That means during the transferring of mail, the third party or the unauthorized entity or person may intercept the transmission and use these online banking information for their use or for their benefit. So this kind of attacks are called snooping attack. So snooping attack is nothing but the unauthorized access to data. For example, consider that here I'm going to have Bob and I'm going to have Alice. So what the Bob is going to do? Bob is going to send some sensitive data to the Alice through the internet. That is nothing but the transmission media. So what the Bob is going to do here? The Bob is going to send some email to the Alice, and email includes some sensitive data, and in the middle, Darth. What the Darth is going to do? He is going to read or he is going to intercept the transmission media and he is going to access the data. So what is the job of the Darth here? Here Darth reads contents message from Bob to Alice. That means here Bob is going to send some mail to the Alice and Bob is going to include some sensitive data in his mail. And in the middle, the third party, that is nothing but the unauthorized user, what he is going to do? He is going to intercept the transmission media and he is going to collect the sensitive data and he is going to use those sensitive data for his benefit. So this kind of attack itself called snooping attack. Moving further, I'm going to have another kind of attack which comes under confidentiality. That is nothing but traffic analysis. So what is traffic analysis here? The third party is going to analyze the traffic, that is network traffic each time. That kind of attack itself called traffic analysis. So it refers to obtain some other type of information by monitoring online traffic. That means the job of the unauthorized person or intruder is to observe the network traffic. Based on that, he is going to collect some kind of information, and by observing the traffic, he or she is going to collect the some kind of information which is related to the original message, and he or she is going to misuse those information for their benefit. Those kind of attacks are called traffic analysis. So what is the job of the intruder? Here intruder is going to observe the network traffic pattern frequently, or the intruder is going to observe the data format each time. Based on the information what he received by observing the traffic, he is going to misuse the data. That means he is going to collect the data based on the traffic analysis. After that, he is going to misuse those data for their financial benefit. Then what is the example here? He or she collects the electronic address like email, address of the sender or receiver. So once again, I'm going to have Bob and Alice. Okay, so the third party, who is third party here? That is nothing but the Darth. What Darth is going to do? He is going to collect the sender's email ID or the receiver's email ID, and an attacker gain important information by monitoring the frequency and timing of the network packet. That means initially what the Darth is going to do is going to collect the sender or receiver's email ID. Then he tried to gain the information based on the frequency and timing of network packet. So what is the job of the Darth here? He is going to observe the network traffic frequently, and based on that, he is going to monitor the frequency as well as timing of network packet. So what is packet here? That is nothing but the data. That means in computers, we are not going to use the word data. Instead of that, whatever the data we are going to have, that is divided into smaller pieces. That piece itself called packet. Let's consider the example here. That is example for traffic analysis. So here I'm going to have Bob and I'm going to have Alice once again. So what the Bob is going to do? Here Bob is going to send some data to the Alice, and in middle I'm going to have unauthorized user, that is nothing but the intruder or attacker. So what is the attacker is going to do? He or she is going to observe the pattern of message from Bob to Alice. What's the job of the Darth? That is the intruder here is to observe the pattern of messages from Bob to Alice. So these kind of attack itself called traffic analysis. So which are the two type of confidentiality attack we are going to have? That is snooping attack, and we are going to have traffic analysis. Then moving further, I'm going to have another kind of attack, that is nothing but the integrity attack. Under integrity attack, once again, I'm going to have modification. So what is modification? So the name itself indicates that whatever the data which is received by the unauthorized user, he or she is going to modify the data and he or she is going to send those data to the receiver. So the modification means that attacker modifies the information to make it beneficial to himself by intercepting or accessing information. So what is the job of the intruder here? The job of the attacker is to modify the information and intercept or access the information for their financial benefit. So the best example here is a sender sends a message to back. To understand this modification attack, let's consider this small example here. So a customer is going to send a message to the bank to perform some transaction. But in middle, what the attacker is going to do? Attacker intercept the message and changes the type of transaction to himself. Also, he or she can able to delete or delay or harm the system. So these kind of attacks are called modification. Consider the simple example here that the customer is want to perform some transaction. So what the customer is going to do? The customer is going to send the message to the bank. So in middle, what the intruder is going to do? The intruder is going to gain some information and he or she is going to make the modification for their financial benefit. This kind of attack itself called modification. So first receive the message, or so what is the job here? First steal the message, then modify the message, then send the message to the receiver. So this kind of attack itself called modification. Let's consider the small example here. So this diagram gives the complete information about the modification attack. So once again, here I'm going to have three persons. One is Bob and Alice. These two persons are the authorized user or trusted user. And in middle, once again, I'm going to have Darth. So who is Darth? Here Darth is nothing but the attacker or intruder. So according to the modification, so what the Bob is going to do? Here Bob is the customer. So here Alice is nothing but the bank manager. Bank manager. Now what the Bob is going to do? Here Bob is nothing but the customer. Here Bob want to do some transaction. So what he's going to do? He's going to send some message to the Alice. So who is Alice? Alice is nothing but the bank manager. In middle, what is the job of the Darth? Here Darth is going to access or steal the request of transaction from the Bob, and she or he is going to make some modification and he is responsible for sending those transaction request to the bank manager. So then what is the advantage or what is the benefit he is going to get? He is going to get financial benefit, because whatever the transaction we are going to carry it out, that is bank transaction. So here Darth is going to modify the request, and once again he is going to resend those requests to the Alice, and he is going to perform all those activities only for the financial benefit or only for the financial gain. Moving further, once again I am going to have masquerading. So what is masquerading? That is, it happens when an attacker tries to impersonate somebody else. So what is masquerading? So here masquerading is going to happen when an attacker. So attacker is nothing but the unauthorized user or intruder tries to impersonate somebody else. These kind of attacks is called masquerading attack. Let's consider the simple example here. An attacker might steal card and pin. That means the job of the attacker is to steal the card details, at the same time steal the pin of a bank of a customer and pretend to be that customer. So the main job of the masquerading attack is to steal the card as well as pin, and the attacker is going to act like a genuine customer. So these kind of attacks itself called masquerading. So what is masquerading? Attacker tries to impersonate somebody else. That means the attacker is going to pretend like a genuine or authorized or legitimate customer. Moving further, let's consider the example here. So here once again I'm going to have Bob, and once again I'm going to have server. So the third person, that is nothing but the intruder, is going to act like a genuine user. That means here the Darth disrupts services provided by the server. That means here the intruder is going to disrupt the services which is provided by the server. That means instead of Bob, the intruder is going to act like a Bob, and he is going to disrupt the services which is provided by the server. If I consider the old example that Bob is having bank card as well as PIN, and same card number and PIN is stolen by the Darth, and now the Darth is going to act like a Bob. That means the Darth is going to have bank card along with that PIN. Now he can able to use that bank card and PIN number for his financial benefit. These kind of attacks itself called masquerading attack. Moving further, I'm going to have replaying. So what is replaying? The attacker contains a copy of message sent by the user and later to reply it. I repeat. So replaying, that means the attacker obtains the copy of the message sent by the user, and what he's going to do, he's going to replay it later. So what is the job of the intruder here is he's going to gather the information from the authorized user, and later he's going to use those information for their financial benefit. So the attacker first obtained the copy of the message which is sent by the user, that is sent by the genuine user, and later it is replay it. So example here, a person sends a request to her bank to ask for payment to the attacker. So a person is going to send the request to the bank. In middle, what the intruder is going to do? Intruder is going to get the copy of the message and he or she is going to modify those message and ask for payment to the attacker. That means now the attacker is going to request the bank person to make the payment. Who has done a job for her, the attacker can receive other payment from other bank by intercepting the message and send it again to the bank. To understand this example, let's consider the diagram here. Once again, think that here I'm going to have Bob and Alice. So the Bob is now customer and Alice is nothing but the bank manager. Now what the Bob is going to do? Here Bob is going to send the message to the manager that he want to perform some transaction. In middle, the intruder. Who's the intruder here? That is nothing but the Darth. So according to this diagram, now the Darth is going to have the information which is sent from Bob to Alice. Later, what the Darth is going to do? He is going to send same message to the Alice. Now, Alice is going to think that the message is requested by the Bob and the Alice is going to perform the bank transaction. So, this kind of attack itself called replaying. That means the intruder is going to replay the same message which is came from the actual user or the authorized user. So who is the authorized user here? That is Bob. What the Bob is going to do? Here Bob is going to perform some online transaction. So what the Bob is going to do? He's going to send the request to the Alice, and in middle what the Darth is going to do? He's going to capture those message and he's going to use those message for his financial benefit. This kind of attack itself called replaying. Moving further, I'm going to have another kind of attack is repudiation. So what is repudiation? This attack is different from the other. That means whatever the attacks we discussed, that is some similarity we can able to find. But here repudiation is completely different from all the other attack because it performed by one of the two parties. That means we can able to find the repudiation attack, that means which can be performed by the both the parties. That means it may be a sender or it may be a receiver. Consider the example here. The sender of the message might later deny that he sent the message. The receiver of the message might later deny that he has received the message. That means the sender is going to deny that he does not send the message. And in the receiving side, the receiver is going to deny that he does not receive the message. So these kind of attacks itself called repudiation. So what the sender is going to do? The sender of the message might later deny that he sent the message, or the receiver of the message might later deny that he has received the message. Consider the example here that the denial by the sender would be a bank customer asking her bank to send some money to third party, but later denying that he does not made such a request. That means if I consider previous example, I'm going to have Bob and Alice, and I'm going to have Darth. So, according to this kind of attack, what the Bob is going to do, the Bob is going to send the request to the Alice that pay some amount to the Darth. And later, what the Bob is going to do here, the Bob is going to deny that he does not send any request to the Alice to transfer amount to the Darth. This kind of attack itself called repudiation attack. Then I'm going to have denial of service. That is nothing but the DOS service. This service comes under availability attack. So what is denial of service? That is, it is a very common attack and it may slow down or totally interrupt the service of the system. This kind of attack is mainly going to slow down the services and it is totally interrupt the services of the system. It can be done in several ways as an attacker might send so many box requests to the server's response to a client, making client to believe that the service is not responding. And the attacker may also intercept and delete a server's response to the client or intercepting request from the client, causing the client to send the request many times and overload the system. So what is denial of service here? So here it is a very common attack we can able to find in our daily life, and the main intention of DOS attack is to slow down the services, or it is mainly used to make the service unavailable to the user. That can be achieved in many ways. That means the attacker might send the bogus request. So who is the attacker? That is nothing but the Darth. So Darth is the intruder and he is going to send bogus request to the server. And what is the intention of the Darth here? That is nothing but he want to make the server busy so that the other genuine user cannot get the resources from the server. So what the attacker is going to do here? That is, the attacker is going to send the bogus request to the server and the server gets busy and the client cannot get the response from the server. This kind of service or this kind of attack itself called denial of service, and at the same time attacker may also intercept or delete a server's response to the client. This kind of attacks itself called denial of service. So in today's section, we had discussion regarding the three different types of attacks, that is confidentiality, availability, as well as integrity attack. Under confidentiality attack, we are going to have snooping attack and traffic analysis. And under integrity attack, we are going to have modification, repudiation attack, masquerading attack, and replaying attack. Under availability attack, we are going to have denial of service. So what is the job of the intruder here? The job of the intruder here to make the server busy. In order to that, what the intruder is going to do? He is going to send bogus request to the server so that the server response does not get to the client. This kind of attack itself called denial of service, and it is mainly used to slow down or totally interrupt the services of a system. So dear student, in my next session, I'm going to discuss the two different types of attack, that is passive attack and active attack. At the same time, along with this, I'm going to explain different kinds of security mechanism we are going to have. Dear student, thank you for watching my session. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.